Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
What is going on, everybody? It is Wednesday of Masters Week. Nielson and Huss back with you once again. Thank you very much for all the support with the Lock Shop. Make sure you download all the podcasts and, of course, subscribe while you're there to all the podcasts. And it's all brought to you by Coolbet. Coolbet.com is where you can sign up for an account. Use the code LOCKSHOP. No better time to hop in than to bet a little Masters. Hey, Huss?
No doubt about it. Don't forget, folks, Lock Shop YouTube channel as well at Lock Shop Bets. Many of you watch this on Twitter when we fire it out. All the content is there in case you miss it. Lock Shop Bets on YouTube. One more day, and it's great. We've got a huge hockey game tonight between Winnipeg and Calgary. And listen, I still can't believe the Flames lost to the Blackhawks last night, but it's
so
still,
bad.
In a lot of ways, a playoff game for both Winnipeg and Calgary. A far more desperate situation for the Flames, but they really needed to have this one anyways. And that's good because focus in on that hockey game tonight and then get up tomorrow and watch them tee it up at Augusta National in search of a green jacket. And I mean, Dusty, the storylines around this event, it's unlike any tournament I can remember. I mean, a long time, of course, because of the return of all of these live players. Did you see the champions dinner photo last night? Like they had,
I saw it, but I didn't dive into it. I saw the photo though. Yeah.
You know, they sort of had the live guys tucked away in the back and over in the corner. And at a one line, it was like Gary Player, who's on the outs with Augusta National. And then Patrick Reed, Phil was behind him. Sergio was behind Patrick. And DJ was just there hanging out as if nothing was going on. Scotty Scheffler did look like he knocked the menu out of the park on that champions dinner. But what we're going to be talking about is who's setting the menu for next year's champions dinner and trying to catch a big one for the biggest tournament of the year.
Pat is going to join us from Coolbet. He should be popping by here any minute now. Just a heads up to all the lock shoppers. I've put in a pretty big exclusive for the Oilers game tonight against the Ducks. The Oilers got that nice low-scoring win last night against the Kings. They play the Ducks tonight. I think we'll see a little bit of a different type of game tonight against the Ducks, so watch for that. Should pop up in the exclusive section of Coolbet. I'll tweet that out a little bit later on. Lock Shop Play of the Day a little bit later on as well. Chaz is in the YouTube feed right now saying, Masters Week, boys. Let's go. Huss, that's why I threw on the Elks green today. This is all I got for green. I was like, I got to have some green on for the Masters episode.
Geez, I should go grab my actual green jacket, one at the, not Masters, but the Mo Gosselin Invitational. Although I was using my green screen for a pre-tape beforehand, and the green jacket doesn't exactly work out well, although I know someone that will be rocking a green jacket and bringing it in just a moment. Speaking of those exclusives, though, Jake reached out to me to get a Jets exclusive. Now, Jet fans, everyone knows I put them on the suspended list until the end of the season. I will refuse to mush them in any case. So I did not take the win on the total tonight. We're going with an over. I think we've got an Ehlers, Scheifele, and Morrissey to get points. So if you want to jump on that or ride with it, check the exclusives a little bit later on. But as I said, I did not pick them to win, just for there to be a bunch of goals tonight. And that rink is going to be rocking. National TV game. I mean, everything on the line. One of just 3 games on the docket. So that'll be the focus tonight. Check the exclusives if you want to get in on that. And in case you were wondering, the line, Jets -130 on the money line and Calgary +110. Flames, of course, Dusty, coming off an almost inconceivable loss last night. I mean, to the Chicago Blackhawks, considering they were on a 4-game
Hawks don't
heater.
even want to win games, man.
No, I mean, it maybe took a bit of the juice out of this game tonight, but it's still absolutely massive. And I still do believe the team that wins this game likely goes to the playoffs. Although the Flames really did themselves a real disservice last night by not getting the 2 points.
According to our group chat today with the boys from Coolbet, there is some infighting at Coolbet. There's some jealousy at Coolbet right now. Let's bring in Pat Gregoire. Pat, first of all, excellent jacket, buddy. Looks great. Bring us up to speed here, man. What's up?
on the grounds of Augusta National. So as you guys know, or may have heard or saw on Twitter, we had our loyalty trip for Coolbet Canada down to the Valero, Texas, a week before in the South, let's just say. In all honesty, shout out to Shane, our loyalty manager, set up an awesome trip. We spent some time with Taylor Pendrith and his agent. Anyways, we're out for dinner on Tuesday evening, and Taylor's agent pulls us aside and says, "What are you guys doing on Monday?" And I said, "Well, I'll be gone already. I got to go back to Hamilton, call a TSN game for the NLL." The other guys are like, "Well, we're flying through Atlanta," and they all got a smile on their face. They're like, "Is he about to ask us what we think it is?" He said, "Well, I've got a couple extra tickets to Monday's practice round. I'm not going to be able to be there. Would you guys like to use them?"
Oh,
and
man.
I have never felt like a bigger loser in my life, because there's Jake, there's Shane, and Andrew, our partnership manager. All their hands go up. "We're free. We can change flights. Nah, that's no problem." So needless to say, those three clowns and another loyalty customer were able to make the trip. They extended their flight literally by like maybe 12 hours. Like, it could not have worked any better. I'm obviously being very bitter right now. Awesome experience for them. So
I'd be very bitter. Like, we're in that group chat, and I text out a link, and I'm like, "Sorry, Jake, you can't join us today." He's like, "Oh, that's okay. It's not like I was at Augusta on Monday." Sends us pictures of him being at Augusta. I was like, "Look at this slime ball, hey!" Like, well, my God,
what a run for him. I mean, you guys had the great time at the Valero. Then he shows up making picks at the Final Four in Houston on the weekend. Yeah. And now somehow, and this is a guy that came with me to Qatar for the
I know. He's on an all-time heater right now. And
Jake.
Good. Oh, great to be Jake's. Jake's stock is at an all-time high. And he's smart. He brought the big boss man a hat home. So next time I see him out, I'll at least get a hat. He got me a sweet hat. So he's not too big in the doghouse, but
wow. Tell us about this green jacket you have. Is that something you wear regularly, or is it a bit for today?
No, it is absolutely in the rotation for TSN on the broadcast. Right, but can't bring it out too much, right? You got to bring it out once in a while. St. Patty's Day, maybe a couple games here and there. But it is no doubt coming out probably all week, especially if these round one bets go well tomorrow. I might be sitting on the couch in boxers with my Masters hat that Jake got me, just putting in an absolute shift.
Well, I mean, this could not have worked out any better. I mean, we've got the Good Friday. So, I mean, it's off for pretty much everyone, going right into the Easter weekend for the Masters. And hey, listen, just before we get to some of the round one offerings and your thoughts on the tourney, couple of tweaks to the lines. Looks like Rory is now actually the favorite. That has just changed recently. It was 8-1 yesterday when we did the show for both he and Scotty Scheffler. Rory's now plus 775. Still a better number than you're going to see for Rory or Scheffler anywhere right now. Rahm holding steady at 10-1. Cantlay and Spieth at 20-1. Fino and JT at 25-1. Schauffele's now dropped actually to 28, and then a group at 30, including Jason Day, Dustin Johnson, Cam Smith, and then we get to Morikawa and Cam Young. Any thoughts on just the movement or where the lines have settled right now? And obviously Cam Smith is obviously people are not expecting a lot from the live golfers when guys like Cam Smith and DJ are having 30s hung on them, Pat.
Yeah, we'll get into maybe the top of the board first, because I do have a take on those live golfers and just kind of the expectations. But was shocked to see Rory drop down to 775, but obviously a lot of people are thinking he's going to pull off, the Grand Slam this weekend. And I think when you look at those top three guys, I really don't think you can go wrong with Rory, Scheffler, or Rahm, especially now with Rahm at 10-1. I think that is definitely something that you could certainly sprinkle on. I know his form as of late, his ball striking hasn't been as elite as we've seen, but he's a guy that has a lot of great course history here. Scotty Scheffler, I was hoping when I saw Rory's number come down, I was thinking maybe we'd get a better number at Scheffler, but I've come to grips that 8-1's probably going to be the best number we're going to get on Scotty. And I'm okay with eating that. He's the best player on the planet right now. When he's at his best, he is the best. His recent form has been great, and he's won here before. Obviously,
he's trying
year.
to join history, right? Like he's trying to go back to back here. Like
exactly, he's going for history. And let's not forget, like that was a dominant victory. But his round on Sunday, there was a couple times where it looked like it could have, fell out of place, but he was able to figure things out and close out. I think he's more confident than he's ever been. I think his game is as good as it's ever been as well. So again, I said it last week or I guess 2 weeks ago now would have been with the match play. Like, I don't like betting the odds on favorite, but when you're that good, and now technically he's not the odds on favorite, but I think you got to go with him at this point. I really, really feel confident. And you listen to any of the podcast shows, the pregame, and I know chalk this, chalk that, but it sounds like even hearing some of the other golfers talk about his game, like something would really, really have to go bad for Scheffler not to at least be in the hunt come Sunday.
One other thing that we should quickly talk about, and Dusty, get your thoughts on this and Pat's, is the weather. And I pulled this up right now. They have had a bunch of rain earlier this week coming into the tournament. Tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud, 84 Fahrenheit. Not bad. Wind gusting to 11. So, I mean, probably a good day to play. Friday, a little cooler, a little windier, 75 and 15. Here's where things get interesting. Cold and rainy on the weekend. Saturday, a high of 54 with 1.5 inches of rain and another 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of rain on Sunday with rain. I certainly hope they're going to be able to get it done on the weekend. I think there's the potential of a Monday finish. But what do you guys like? Does the fact that this could be a bit of a mutter on the weekend maybe give a particular advantage to anyone outside of? We'll get into my picks because I have sort of taken. I don't want to overcompensate for it, but I do think it's important to know, especially at a track where we have so much course history and know how much something like that can change.
Yeah, I definitely I think it has to go into what you're thinking, right? But at the same time, I don't think you can galaxy brain yourself, like you said. So I think, again, when you look at guys, that can scramble well. I think Spieth is a guy that certainly jumps off the page that might be able to play well. He's got great course history here as well. But with that messy stuff, the messy rain, you got to be creative, right? And who is a more creative golfer than Spieth? Hate to say it, Cam Smith. That certainly seems like that might come into play for him as well. But when you've only played 4 competitive tournaments in the last let's say since the last time we saw him, it's been quite some time. I don't know so I would be kind of reluctant, but definitely, I think you got to start thinking about some of these guys that have had experience, not just playing here, but guys that know how to scramble, know how to play in this mucky, windy, gross weather, which it seems like we never get bad weather. It's always gorgeous, sunny. The azaleas look perfect, and it'll be interesting. It'll be definitely interesting. I definitely think that they want to get this done on Sunday.
Oh, man, not finishing the Masters on Sunday would be a buzzkill. I mean, some people have Monday off too, I guess. So I got to work Monday morning, so I'm not a big fan of this. So
we'll take Monday off. If that's the case.
Yeah,
I can
that's true.
guarantee you that.
I won't be in today. Huss, I think you make a good point. When we get to our picks, we'll discuss a little bit more. I think it does change the type of player that maybe you're looking for ever so slightly, maybe here or there as you make your picks. Pat, what else are you on? Like, what else do you like? Is there a few other things that jump off the page? There's so many different markets for this tournament. It's really fun to dive into a lot of it. We could do 3 hours on this, but what else do you like? What are some other markets?
No doubt. I mean, if we want to go into specific markets, I know I'll be tweeting out all my picks later on this week, probably before tea time tomorrow. But I'm just looking at some of the markets that I really like. It's a name that you probably not too many people heard of, but Gordon Sargent. He's the number 1 ranked amateur, and that's one of the special things that we get with the Masters. We always get a good sprinkling of different AMs in this event. And I don't know if you saw any clips or were reading some stuff. This guy absolutely nukes the ball. And yes, I know this isn't all about the long hitters, but this guy is an elite ball striker. Still in the NCAA, goes to Vanderbilt. And this guy was out driving JT and Spieth, and he was blowing away Max Homa. If you listen to his press availability yesterday, like he was waxing poetically about this kid. Data Golf has him actually ranked as the 90th ranked player in the world, not 90th ranked amateur, like overall, like pros 90. Like when you look at some of his comparables at his age, like he has the same analytics as guys like JT and Spieth when they were in college. And those guys were touted as, generational talent. So for top debutante at 12-1, it's a little bit of a long shot considering some of the names that are on that list. The Mito Pereiras, the Sahith Tagalas. I think Tom Kim's on there, who I really like as well.
Yeah.
But as a long shot play, I really like that. Also, he's 5-1. Earlier, I think he was about 650-1, and that line has moved. I bet a little bit earlier, but for him to finish in the top 20, I like that as well. We always see in this tournament one amateur on Thursday and Friday really get into the mix and find themselves on the leaderboard. I think this kid is special enough for that. In terms of some of the other groups, a lot of the head-to-heads, I thought they did a great job with the pairing. So I think first two rounds, I'm going to have a lot of different head-to-heads. I really think that when you're looking at top lefty, Harmon at plus 150, I know it's not the biggest number. I really like that. Sung J M at 8-1, or even Matsuyama at 9-1 for top rest of the world. Those are two other guys that I gotta choose one, but I was looking at that and those two really jumped out on the page for me. There's so many different options, honestly, like it is insane. We've got our exclusives as well. When you go to the specials for the Masters exclusive, I've got mine. I don't know if you guys have gone over yours yet, but I'll throw mine out. Scotty Scheffler.
We like yours too. Like yours too. Yeah.
Homa and Connors top 20. I know Homa has historically stunk here, but he's one of the best players in the world now. And Connors has dominated this place. He hasn't won the green jacket yet or really come that close. But for him to finish top 20, really like that. One more I'll give you before I go, which I don't get this. Number of live players to make the cut at 12.5. This might be just like a sucker bet for me. I'm hammering the under. There is no way I see 12, 13 golf. When Jake and I were talking about this bet, putting this together, we were guessing maybe like 6.5, 7. There's no way in the world 13 golfers from live are making this cut. And I know it's a different cut here at Augusta. I just don't see it. I do not see it at all.
I hammered that as well. We'll get to that in a minute. And folks, get on over. There's some really neat exclusives. And this is one that I hadn't seen before. But for everyone that, wants to support our Canadian guys, check this one. The O Canada. Svensson over Reed, Hughes over Lowry, and Connors over DJ in round one head-to-head. So this is in tomorrow's round, 14-1.
Yeah.
And there's a few others as well there for specifically for round one. And then, we've got Dusty's, which is a Rory top 10, Corey Connors and Cam Young top 20 at 8-1. And mine 15-1, Rory and Tony Finau top 10, and Min Woo Lee, who we will get to a little later on, into the top 20 at 15-1. So lots of options in the exclusives as well. And now all the head-to-head matchups are there for round one specials as well. We're not hurting for options right now, Pat.
No, absolutely not. And you mentioned obviously all those head-to-heads. We're going to have each round. We will also have those round bettings, and just so you do know, it's no ties. So if they tie, it's a loss. So it's got to be a win. So just so everyone knows there's no There's no wash there. So keep your eyes out. We'll be posting all our different round exclusive. There is live betting for this major as well. If you like someone, if someone's moving up the board and you want to get it, or if someone starts a little bit slow, like a guy like Rory, who is notoriously a slow starter, which actually I wanted to throw this out there because I heard it a little bit earlier this week. Rory McIlroy has only broken 70 twice on his Thursday round. Twice. But he's always found a way to finish in the top 10. Like he has 7 top 10 finishes. It's just backdoor Rory. Like that's all he does. He starts slow and figures it out. I don't know if that's going to happen again, but for me, like I think if I'm going to bet Rory, I'll probably bet him live and wait for that number to get better. I think that's the play. But I also think a top 5, a top 10 is it's crazy though when you look at the odds. I think he's like minus 140 to finish in the top 10, which is just banana lands.
Yeah, minus 143. Well, and speaking of the specials, if you go to round 1 player specials, his round 1 score is 70.5, over minus 143, under plus 103. And I think there's a few people that are looking for big things from Rory, knowing how important getting off to a good start is, that might be hitting that under as well. Would love to see him get in the 60s and really be there heading into the weekend as opposed to playing catch up.
Of course. And if I threw it out on Twitter again, this is probably my best bet. Bryson DeChambeau to miss the cut at plus 135. Not only is it a great value bet, just the hits keep coming. And he's going to say something stupid after his round 1, and it's just going to be great. It's going to be fantastic when he misses the cut. Part 67 here?
Yeah, Mr. Par 67.
That's right. Leave us with that, Patty. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.
See you, boys. Enjoy
the weekend,
It's going to be a busy week for Pat Gregoire and all of us, actually, as we got a couple of guys who are on Rory right here, Haas. Is this finally the year for Rory McIlroy? Let's dive into this and all of our picks here.
I sure hope it is. And you know, like many people, was trying to decide between Jon Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, and Rory McIlroy. I believe there is another wager where you can basically just take the big 3. And I believe
it's like plus 2 something.
One of those 3 to wins. I don't mind that at all because I'm not as high on Rahm right now just because of how he's looked in the past few weeks, but he absolutely could go out and win this tournament. And I don't know. I'm not on Scotty Scheffler, which is crazy because I was on him last year. He has maybe made me more money than anybody in this tournament over the course of the last 16 to 18 months. Getting on him early, it's just very, very different. Going back as the champ, you know, he had the dinner last night. I think there's so many things around it, you know, that might hamper him a little bit as well as he's been playing as of late. To me, this is Rory's time. And one of the things that really sort of, I think, pushed me over the edge to jump on Rory as my one pick of those 3 favorites is the weather. You know, I'm not sure it's supposed to be exceptionally windy, but especially with the rain, to me, the Irish guys, I mean, the guys that are used to playing in those conditions growing up, I think maybe have a little bit of a leg up on some of the other guys. And the other thing, bottom line is, and we'll speak to my picks, the big hitters, length off the tee, driving distance, and accuracy, of course, to me is going to be at an absolute premium. And my jaw's still on the floor from that drive that he hit in the match play at 18 a couple of weeks ago. And listen, what a story it would be considering everything surrounding this tournament. Rory completing the Grand Slam and winning the green jacket in the first major with the live golfers there. Bring it on. So I'm with you on Rory McIlroy. Tony Finau's actually dropped now to 25 to 1. I mean, Tony, listen, has done very well at this tournament in the past. I think he has been sneaky good so far this year and very consistent. Does have a good course history. And again, few people can bomb it like Tony can. And I think that is going to be impactful. So we certainly are in on Tony. And the Jason Day number is now down to 30 to 1. And it was actually as low as 28 to 1 earlier. I mean, this is a bet that I made a few weeks ago, but to be honest, Dustin, we've talked about him week in and week out. Jason Day has been
playing extremely well. Yeah.
So good, consistent. And listen, he's a major champion before. When he is at the top of his game, he's one of the few guys that I really believe that can go toe-to-toe with the likes of McIlroy, of Rahm, with Scotty Scheffler. So for my guys higher up the board, those are the three picks that I've got. Obviously, you got to make a bit bigger of a wager on a Rory McIlroy at 8-1. But Finau and Day, the other players sort of from that group at 30 or less, although I did get them at a little bit better numbers than you'll find them right now going into tee off tomorrow.
I'm with you on everything about Rory. I can't. He's been playing very well. We know how close he's been here multiple times. If the weather does factor into it, you make a great point on his ability to bomb the ball and just make things so much easier for himself than some of these other guys, 30, 40 yards here and there. So I'm going to get on Rory. And if he has a really nice start on Thursday, if he has a great start tomorrow, man, very interested to see how that plays out heading into the weekend. I'm going to get on Patrick Cantlay. Now, Cantlay has not had any sort of real success at Augusta, but he's been bombing the ball lately as well, and I think that's something you're going to look for him this week. And he's been playing pretty well. He does have a top 10 here, so it's not like he's been brutal every time at the Masters. He finished 9th, T9 in 2019, but he's got 3 top 10s in his last 4 starts. Like, this guy's playing very well right now. Long off the tee. You can get him at 20-1 right now. So I like the fact that he's been playing very well coming into this vet. And then here's another guy who's been all over it. He's been all around it. No stage is too big for Xander Schauffele. And he's been top 3 twice in the last 4 years at this event. Now, he was dealing with a bit of a sore back earlier here to start 2023. But in his last 7 events, he's made the cut all 7 times and 3 top 10s in his last 7 here as well. So I think it's starting to feel a little bit better. We know he's been close a few times, and get him at 28-1 right now. I think he's just too talented to be at 28-1. So I like the fact that you're getting a guy who's come very close twice at 28-1. So those are some of our favorite plays, but it's the Masters. You got to expand it a little bit. So we're looking at some longer-ish shots here. Huss, you got a 65-1 and 80-1, and I've got 50-1 and 55-1. So lay out these 2 guys for me.
Yeah, well, and okay, Shane Lowry, for many of the same reasons that I like Rory McIlroy, I think there's some great value on Shane Lowry. Certainly it would be a far bigger upset if he's right there in the mix. But I mean, you think about what he did in winning his Claret Jug at the Open Championship. That's some really good results so far this year. Can absolutely bomb the ball. And I think that if it does become a bit of a slog and a very wet weekend, I think that plays right into a player like Shane Lowry. So I think there's just great value on him at 65-1. And the other guy that I've got in, and he's in on my exclusives to be top 20, and I'll get a top 20 on him as well, is Min-Woo Lee. Now, I know there are some people did have some crazy futures on Min-Woo, up 125-1, 150-1 earlier. That's not the case anymore because he has contended in a bunch of events so far this season. But for a smaller player, he's got deceptive power. And man, I mean, as we've seen him, not just here in North America, but in other tournaments around the world, when he does get hot, he can go toe-to-toe with the best. I just think that the way he's trending, there's always a player or two that sort of come from, I don't want to say out of nowhere, but not thought to be contenders at all. And Min-Woo Lee's game really does suit Augusta National, in my opinion. So I've jumped on Lowry at 65-1, a little sprinkle on Min-Woo at 80-1. And then I didn't put this in, but my one future that was picked at some point during football season after a win was Corey Connors as well. And I mean, just getting in on a good number before 60-1 I have, and 55 is great because Dusty 2 days ago, he was down to 45-1, and I've seen him as low as 35-1 at other books. So if you do like Corey Connors, certainly a great number right now at Coolbet, better than anything you're going to see anywhere else.
I just couldn't not have him on this extended list. I mean, I know you had that featured bet already. Well, one of us had to have us on this part of the card at least. I mean, he's been last three Masters, he's finished top 10 all three times. He's playing extremely well right now. Be interested to see how the weather may impact his game a little bit on the weekend as well. But we know as far as ball striking goes, he's one of the best in the business. So at 55-1, I'm going to get on Connors here. And then I go on Sanjay as well. Remember, with Sanjay finished second in the fall Masters? I'm like, it's different. Well, he's also got a top 10
there.
Yeah, which is amazing because nobody rolls in first time of this thing and does that well. And then he's got an 8th since. So he's got 2 top 10s in his last 3 trips to Augusta. You're getting him here at 50-1. He hasn't been lights out for the last little while, but he's finished top 21 or better in 6 of his last 8 starts. And the fact that he's played this course like a monster a couple of times, you're getting him at 50-1. I love the value in both of these guys, considering they've been all around it themselves over the last 3 years. I mean, 2 of the last 3 Masters, these 2 guys have been top 10. And now you can get him at 50-1 or 55-1. So I'm going to get on those 2 guys here as well. But that's not all we have, Huss. We've got a few other plays here as well.
Yeah, and as they say, I mean, I'll probably add to this evening and probably throughout the week now that the round 1 options are up. But here are just some other of the props that I have bet for the tournament. And Pat nailed this one earlier. I sort of had to do a double take when we saw that the over-under cut for live players was 12.5. That's an under. And as Pat said, maybe it's a sucker bet. Well, I'm a sucker then because that was a very quick press send on a wager at under 12.5 live players making the cut. And at the top of that list, Pat nailed it. Bryson DeChambeau to miss the cut, plus money, plus 135, in fact. And Pat nailed it. You know, not only do I think it's prudent, he hasn't been playing very well, but it's also going to be fun to cheer against Bryson on Thursday and Friday and hope that he's not around playing the weekend. Going to some of the other options, I really liked what Tyrrell Hatton's done this year. I know you've had him on your card on a number
I've had him
of
a couple
occasions.
times.
Great ball striker. Can get sort of hot and cold, but I think he's been playing quite well. I've got him at plus 300 to be the top Englishman. And I'm going to ride with your guy, Sungjae Im, as the top Asian at plus 200. I do like Sungjae more than Hideki. We saw Hideki play back at the Valero last week to get ready for it. Not great, although, hey, he does have the good vibes of being a former champion at this event. But I'm liking Sungjae Im as the top Asian. And speaking of Asians, I am going to ride and put a little sprinkle on our buddy Tom Kim to be the top debutante at plus 500. Had a tough time figuring out where to put Tom in. I mean, I certainly don't think he's going to win this tournament, but he's just got such a great game that I think for guys that are showing up there and playing the tournament for the first time, he's a player that could maybe separate himself from a number of other players that are getting in there for the first time. So Tom Kim at plus 500. And then we've got the groups. Figured let's go right to the big boys. Scheffler, McIlroy, Rahm, Cantlay, and Spieth. I'm going to ride with Rory on that one. Same reason why I'm taking him to win the tournament. Plus 250 for Rory to win that group. So we've got that in there. And I do have one tournament head-to-head. This is going to seem probably a little obscure, but our buddy Hollywood Hoagie, Tom Hoagie, at minus 110 over Chris Kirk. Kirk looked good last week at the Valero and then sort of fell apart in the back on the back nine of Sunday's round. And I just think Hoagie is criminally underrated. He's not a guy, a big star, huge personality, but I think that his game all around is at a point where I don't mind taking it basically a pick 'em over Chris Kirk on that one. So I've got on that. I'll probably look at a few other head-to-heads for round one as well as the tournament. But those are all locked and loaded and already in on the Coolbet account. Where are you going, Dusty?
Well, what do I got? I got 4 here. I got a head-to-head as well. Sam Burns, red hot. Minus 110 over Zalatoris head-to-head in this tournament. Zalatoris, I know we love Willie Z, but, it's been meh a little bit lately. And Sam Burns, considering what he did in the match playing things. Yeah.
He just changed his putting grip. He's trying something new. It speaks to where his game's at right now. If you're trying something new going into Augusta.
So it works well then for Sam Burns at minus 110. Then that's not bad. So I'm a Sam Burns minus 110 versus Zalatoris. I'm going to try to get into some of this live money as well. Everybody's got to get some of the live money. I'm going to go Cam Smith plus 475 to be the top live golfer in this event. I think that's really good number for Cam Smith to be the top guy from live at plus 475. I got to get a piece of Scotty Scheffler. The way I'm going to do that is to take Scheffler to be the top former winner at plus 165 because I like Rory, which is great. I think Rory wins, but if he doesn't and Scheffler does, you're still cashing something at plus 165. And when you look at the list of former winners there with the way Scheffler's been playing right now, I know some people are expecting Spieth maybe to push here a little bit as well, but I'll get on Scheffler as the top former winner at plus 165. And this is no sign of disrespect to the other Canadians because it's been a great year for Canadians on the PGA Tour, but I am still going to ride with Corey Connors at minus 135 to be the top Canadian. 3 straight top 10 finishes. This moment has not been too big for him yet. So I'm going to get Connors, top Canadian, minus 135 to round out my picks as well.
Yeah, and Tiger, minus 200 to make the cut, by the way. We'll have to look at some of the Tiger specials with that round one options. And by the way, also getting in on that first round leader. And it's funny, Rory's 16-1, always has sort of a tough one. Scotty Scheffler's 16-1 as well to be the round one leader. And considering the way he's
you got all the round one leader numbers there. What is it for Justin Rose?
Yeah, 16-1. Okay, Rose.
Yes.
Justin Rose, 40-1.
Okay, because I bring that up because Pat just tweeted at me. Rose has played the Masters 17 times. This is a tweet from Paulie on Twitter. He shot under par in the first round on 9 occasions. His position after those rounds, first, 13th, second, fourth, 6th, and 1st. So he's been the first round leader 4 times. And what can you get him at? 40-1. And he won at Pebble, right? So, yeah, that might be worth a little sprinkle as well.
Well, that's some great little lock shop inside information right now. Big group there at 40-1. Connors, Burns, Fitz, Hideki, Sungjae, but Justin Rose. There'll probably be a little bit of exposure for the book, I think, on the Justin Rose first round leader, considering what you just dropped.
The Masters, sprinkle everything. That's the slogan for the Lock Shop Masters episode today. And we'll be back tomorrow, Thursday episode, Lock Shop coming up, back to the National Hockey League, Major League Baseball, that stuff. Obviously, breaking down what we've seen in the early stages of the Masters as well. That Oilers exclusive I have up, I'll tweet it out, but it's plus 425 for the Oilers, minus 1.5. McDavid over 1.5 points, and then a single point from Draisaitl, Hyman, Nuge, and Bouchard tonight. So if you're an Oilers fan or a hockey guy and you think the Oilers are going to pump the Ducks tonight, might be able to get on that one with me as well.
Yeah, the Jet one is up as well. Again, I did not take them to win. Don't tweet me, Jet fans. But we did take the over 6.5. Going to see some goals tonight. Ehlers, Scheifele, and Morrissey all with 1 point. That one's juiced up to plus 495. Find it now over at Coolbet in the exclusive section.
Let's wrap with a message from a lock shopper who was watching on Twitter today, Cody. He says he's got root canal surgery scheduled for tomorrow. He's going to milk it all weekend. What a time to schedule surgeries. Brilliant move, sir. Brilliant move.
Yeah. Maybe even into Monday if you're not feeling well enough, Cody. You need to take time. You need to get back to 100% before you return to whatever you have to do. Enjoy sitting on your ass for 4 days, watching your Masters, and hopefully cashing some tickets. Good luck, everyone, with their bets.
Talk to you tomorrow, buddy.
Later, dude.